The morning fog rolled thick across Lake Washington, turning the Seattle skyline into ghostly silhouettes. Marcus Rivera's breath formed small clouds in the crisp October air as he knelt beside a bed of chrysanthemums, his weathered hands working methodically through the soil. The park's botanical garden was his sanctuary, the one place where everything made sense, where hard work produced visible, beautiful results. His phone buzzed in his jacket pocket. Marcus sat back on his heels, wiping dirt from his fingers before checking the screen. Mrs. Chen, babysitter. Emma's asking about her costume again. Halloween parade is Friday. Did you get the fabric? Marcus's jaw tightened. The fabric. Another expense he'd been putting off. Between rent, Emma's asthma medication, and the car that needed new brakes. A $7 a yard princess costume fabric had somehow become a luxury. Marcus, I'll pick it up after work today. Promise. He pocketed the phone and returned to the chrysanthemums, trying to calculate whether he could squeeze in overtime this weekend. The park paid $13 an hour. Barely enough, but it was honest work, and it let him be home for Emma most nights. Marcus! His supervisor Dale emerged from the maintenance shed. Need you to check the irrigation system by the lakefront before you finish the flower beds. Some of the sprinkler heads aren't rotating properly. On it, Marcus replied, gathering his tools. The walk to the lake's edge took him through the jogging path, where early morning runners huffed past in expensive athletic gear, wireless earbuds blocking out the world. Marcus had learned to be invisible to them, just another groundskeeper, part of the scenery. The lake stretched out before him, calm and mirror smooth, except where the fog touched its surface. A few ducks paddled near the shore. Marcus knelt beside the first sprinkler head, examining the mechanism. Dirt had clogged the gears. He pulled out his multi-tool and began working it loose. That's when he heard it. A splash. Not the playful sound of ducks or the gentle lap of waves, but something desperate. Thrashing. Marcus's head snapped up. 50 yards out, someone was in the water, arms flailing, head dipping below the surface. His heart lurched. Hey! He shouted, already running toward the edge. Hey! The figure went under again. Didn't come back up. Marcus didn't think. His work boots hit the dock at a run, and then he was diving, the shock of cold water stealing his breath. Lake Washington in October was barely 50 degrees, cold enough to paralyze, cold enough to kill. He'd never been a strong swimmer. Growing up in Tucson, pools were a luxury his family couldn't afford. But Emma's face flashed in his mind. What would happen to her if he didn't try? And he pushed forward, arms cutting through the frigid water. The person surfaced 20 feet ahead, choking, arms weak. Marcus caught a glimpse of a woman's face, eyes wide with panic before she went under again. Hold on! Marcus gasped, swimming harder. His clothes dragged like anchors. His boots felt like concrete. He reached her just as she started to sink. His hand caught her arm, then her shirt, and he hauled her up. She gasped, coughing, clutching at him with drowning person desperation that nearly pulled them both under. I got you, Marcus choked out, trying to position her so she wouldn't drag him down. Stop. Stop fighting me. I got you. She was barely conscious, dead weight in his arms. The shore looked impossibly far. Marcus's legs kicked, but the cold was seeping into his muscles, slowing everything down. Move. Emma needs you. Move. Inch by agonizing inch, he pulled them toward the dock. His lungs burned. His arms screamed. The woman's head kept lolling forward, dipping toward the water. Stay with me, Marcus panted. Come on, stay with me. Someone was shouting from the shore. Other voices joined in. Marcus's hand finally hit wood. The dock ladder. He'd never been so grateful for anything in his life. Hands reached down. A jogger. A cyclist. Together they hauled the woman up onto the dock, and Marcus dragged himself out after her, collapsing onto the wooden planks. The woman wasn't breathing. Call 911, the jogger yelled. Marcus rolled her onto her side, positioned her head. CPR training from a work safety course 3 years ago kicked in. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. His hands found her sternum, and he pushed. Hard. Counting. Come on, he muttered. Come on, don't do this. On the second round of compressions, she convulsed. Water erupted from her mouth. She gasped, coughing violently, and Marcus nearly sobbed with relief. That's it, he said, supporting her shoulders as she retched lake water onto the dock. Get it out. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. The woman's eyes fluttered open, dark brown, disoriented, terrified. She looked at Marcus like he was the only solid thing in a spinning world. "You're safe," he told her, his voice steadier than he felt. "Ambulance is coming. Just breathe. You're safe now." Marcus sat in the emergency room waiting area, still wearing his damp work clothes, a hospital blanket draped over his shoulders. The staff had checked him for hypothermia. He was fine, just cold and exhausted, but he couldn't leave without knowing if the woman had survived. A doctor emerged through the double doors, scanning the waiting room. "Are you the man who pulled her out?" Marcus stood. "Is she okay?" "She's stable. Lucky you were there. Another minute and we'd be having a very different conversation." The doctor extended his hand. "Dr. Patel, she's asking for you if you're up for it." Marcus followed him through sterile hallways to a private room. The woman lay in the hospital bed, an oxygen cannula in her nose, her long black hair damp and tangled against the pillow. She looked young, late 20s maybe, and fragile in a way that had nothing to do with physical size. Her eyes opened when Marcus entered. "You saved my life." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. I saw you in the water. Anyone would have done the same. But you did it." Her voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper. "I don't even know your name." "Marcus Rivera. Olivia Chen." She tried to sit up, winced. "I was training for a triathlon, got a cramp and panicked. Stupid, so stupid." "You're alive," Marcus said simply. "That's what matters." Olivia studied him with an intensity that made him want to look away. "Your clothes are soaked. Did they check you? Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Just need to get back to work, actually." Marcus glanced at the clock on the wall. "My shift." "They'll understand," Olivia interrupted. "You saved someone's life. They can't be upset about that." Marcus almost laughed. She didn't know Dale. "I should go. I'm glad you're okay, Ms. Chen." "Wait." Olivia's hand moved toward the bedside table, fumbling for her phone. "Please, I need to thank you properly. Give me your contact information. I want to—" "You don't owe me anything," Marcus said, already backing toward the door. The gratitude in her eyes made him uncomfortable, like he'd done something extraordinary when really, he'd just done what needed doing. "Marcus," the way she said his name stopped him. "Please, don't disappear. You gave me my life back. The least you can do is let me say thank you." Something in her expression, vulnerable, earnest, made him relent. He scribbled his number on the notepad beside her bed. "Just to check that you're okay," he said. "That's all?" Olivia smiled weakly. "That's all." 3 days passed. Marcus had almost convinced himself the incident was behind him. Just another story to tell Emma when she was older. Proof that doing the right thing mattered. When Olivia Chen appeared at the park, he was pruning the rose garden, lost in the rhythm of work, when her voice cut through his concentration. "They told me I'd find you here." Marcus turned, garden shears in hand, and blinked. Olivia stood on the path in designer jeans and a cashmere sweater, looking every inch the person who didn't belong in a municipal park's work zone. But it was her. Same dark eyes, same delicate features, healthier now. "Ms. Chen." Marcus set down the shears. "You're looking better. Thanks to you." She smiled, glancing around at the meticulously maintained gardens. "This is beautiful. Did you do all this?" "Most of it. It's my section." Pride crept into his voice despite himself. Olivia walked closer, examining a particularly vibrant red rose. "You have a gift. These are perfect. They're just roses. Nothing is just anything when it's done this well." She turned to face him fully. "I came to thank you. Properly." Marcus tensed. "I told you. I know what you told me." Olivia pulled an envelope from her purse. "But I can't just walk away from what you did. This is a check. It's not charity, it's gratitude. Please take it." Marcus didn't touch the envelope. "How much?" $50,000. The number hit him like a physical blow. 50,000. That was Emma's college fund. That was a new car and a year's rent and security he'd never imagined having. That was everything. "No," Marcus said. Olivia blinked. "What? I can't take that." "Marcus, I did what any decent person would do," he said, his voice firm. "I'm not going to profit from it. I appreciate the offer, but no." Olivia stared at him like he'd spoken a foreign language. "You're serious?" "Completely." She slowly returned the envelope to her purse, her expression shifting from surprise to something else. "Curiosity, maybe respect. Then at least let me take you to dinner. You and your daughter. I heard you mention her to the nurse." Marcus hesitated. Emma's face lit up at any mention of going out to eat. They usually couldn't afford more than pizza. "Why?" he asked. Because I'd like to thank you in a way you'll accept, and because, Olivia paused, choosing her words carefully. Because I almost died and it's making me think about the kind of person I want to be. Someone who knows your name is a start. There was something genuine in her voice that cut through Marcus's defenses. He thought about Emma, who'd been asking about her birthday next week, wondering if they could do something special. One dinner, he said finally, but somewhere normal. Emma's 7. She doesn't need fancy. Olivia's smile was radiant. How about Saturday? I know a great family place downtown. Saturday arrived too quickly. Marcus stood in front of his bathroom mirror, trying to tame his hair and wondering what possessed him to agree to this. His nicest shirt, a button-down he wore to parent-teacher conferences, felt tight across the shoulders. Daddy, do I look okay? Emma appeared in the doorway wearing her favorite dress, the purple one with flowers that was getting too small. You look beautiful, mija. Marcus knelt to her level. Remember what we talked about? Ms. Chen is the lady Daddy helped. She wants to say thank you. We're going to have a nice dinner, and then we come home. Okay? Emma nodded seriously. Can I order dessert? We'll see. The restaurant Olivia had chosen was in downtown Seattle, with valet parking and a hostess in a sleek black dress. Marcus felt his work boots, the only shoes he owned besides sneakers, hit the polished floor with dull thuds. Olivia was already seated, and she stood when she saw them, her face lighting up. Marcus, and you must be Emma. Emma pressed closer to Marcus's leg, suddenly shy. It's nice to meet you, Emma, Olivia said gently, crouching to her level. Your dad is a hero. Did you know that? Emma peeked out. He saved you. He did, and I'm very grateful. Olivia gestured to the table. I hope you're hungry. They have amazing mac and cheese here. As they settled in, Marcus noticed Emma's eyes widen at the menu. No prices listed. Descriptions that used words like artisanal and locally sourced. He felt a familiar knot of anxiety in his chest, but Olivia put them at ease. She asked Emma about school, about her favorite subjects, and when Emma shyly mentioned she liked to draw, Olivia's whole face transformed. I love art, Olivia said. What do you like to draw? Princesses. And gardens. Daddy's gardens. That sounds beautiful. I'd love to see your drawing sometime. The dinner unfolded naturally after that. Emma talked about her Halloween costume plans, and Olivia listened like it was the most important conversation she'd ever had. Marcus found himself relaxing, watching his daughter laugh, seeing her be a kid in a way their tight budget rarely allowed. When dessert arrived, chocolate cake for Emma, who looked like she'd won the lottery, Olivia turned to Marcus. Can I ask you something? Marcus set down his coffee. Sure. What do you love about your work? The question surprised him. Creating something, he said after a moment. Taking an empty space and making it beautiful. Knowing that people will walk through those gardens and feel peaceful, better than they did before. Olivia nodded slowly. What if you could do that on a bigger scale? What do you mean? My company is building a new headquarters. 50 acres. We need someone to design and oversee the entire landscape architecture. She leaned forward. I've been thinking about this since I saw your work. You have vision, Marcus. Real talent. Marcus's pulse quickened. Ms. Chen. Olivia. I'm a park gardener. I don't have formal training in landscape architecture. You have something better. Instinct and skill. And I have resources. She pulled out her phone, showing him architectural renderings. This is the campus. Imagine what you could do with it. Marcus stared at the images, his mind already racing with possibilities. Native plant gardens, sustainable irrigation, spaces that would make people stop and breathe. The salary would be triple what you make now, Olivia continued. Benefits, health care, college fund for Emma. The offer hung in the air like something fragile and dangerous. Why? Marcus asked, his voice rough. Why me? Because you're talented. Because you jumped into freezing water without hesitation. Because when I offered you $50,000, you said no. Olivia's eyes met his. I need people around me who can't be bought. Who do things because they're right, not because they're profitable. Marcus looked at Emma, who was scraping the last of her chocolate cake off the plate, oblivious to the conversation that might change her entire future. I need to think about it, he said finally. Of course, Olivia smiled. Take all the time you need. But Marcus, I'm not offering this out of guilt. I'm offering it because I see who you are, and that's exactly what my company needs. That night, Marcus lay awake in his small apartment, listening to Emma's soft breathing from the bedroom they shared. The offer played on repeat in his mind. Triple his salary, health care, security. But doubt gnawed at him. Was he really qualified? Or was this charity dressed up as opportunity? Would he be a token, a feel-good story for a billionaire's conscience? He thought about the roses he'd pruned that morning, each cut precise and purposeful. He thought about the gardens he'd created from nothing but dirt and dedication. Maybe, just maybe, he'd earned this. His phone glowed in the darkness. One unread message from Olivia. "Whatever you decide, thank you for dinner. Emma's a special kid. She's lucky to have you." Marcus stared at the message for a long time before responding. "When can I start?" Marcus's first day at Chen Technologies felt like stepping onto another planet. The headquarters sprawled across downtown Seattle's waterfront, all glass and steel, reflecting the gray November sky. Employees streamed through the lobby in business casual attire, carrying tablets and designer coffee cups, speaking a language Marcus barely understood. Synergy, bandwidth, pivot. He stood at the reception desk in his cleanest jeans and a button-down shirt he'd ironed 3 times, holding a worn backpack that suddenly felt like a billboard announcing he didn't belong. "Marcus Rivera," he told the receptionist, trying to sound confident. "I'm here to see Ms. Chen." The woman's perfectly manicured fingers flew across her keyboard. "Ah, yes, the new director of landscape architecture. Welcome. Ms. Chen is expecting you." 10th floor. Director. The title still felt foreign in his mouth. The elevator moved so smoothly, Marcus barely felt it rise. When the doors opened, Olivia was there, extending her hand with a warm smile. "Ready for your first day?" she asked. "As I'll ever be," Marcus replied, shaking her hand. Her grip was firm, businesslike, different from the vulnerable woman in the hospital bed 3 weeks ago. Olivia led him through an open-plan office where young employees worked at standing desks, some with dogs sleeping beneath them. Everything was immaculate, modern, intimidating. "Your office," Olivia announced, opening a door to a corner room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay. Marcus stepped inside, speechless. The space was bigger than his apartment's living room. A massive desk dominated the center, flanked by drafting tables and a computer setup that looked like it belonged in a spaceship. "This is too much," he managed. "This is what you need to do the job properly." Olivia gestured to the windows. "I thought you'd appreciate the natural light. Good for design work." She wasn't wrong. The view was stunning. Water stretching toward the Olympic Mountains, ferries cutting white trails through the Sound. "The team meeting is in 20 minutes, Olivia continued, pulling up a file on his computer. "You'll be working with our facilities director, David Cho, and the architecture firm we've contracted. They have preliminary designs, but the landscape is your domain. Final decisions are yours." Marcus's throat tightened. "What if I make the wrong call?" Olivia turned to face him fully. "Then you'll learn and adjust. That's how this works, Marcus. I'm not expecting perfection. I'm expecting passion and integrity." She paused at the door. "And for what it's worth, I wouldn't have hired you if I didn't believe you could do this." The conference room fell silent when Marcus entered. 6 people sat around an oval table, architects, project managers, all impeccably dressed, all turning to stare at the gardener who'd somehow become their colleague. David Cho, a sharp-featured man in his 40s, stood and extended his hand. "Marcus Rivera, I've heard a lot about you." The way he said it made Marcus's spine stiffen. Not hostile exactly, but skeptical. "David runs our facilities," Olivia explained, taking her seat at the head of the table. "He'll be your main point of contact for the campus project." For the next hour, Marcus listened as architects presented their vision, a sustainable, tech-forward campus with minimal environmental impact. When they reached the landscape section, they displayed generic renderings. Neat lawns, symmetrical trees, corporate sterility. Marcus frowned. "Something wrong?" David asked, his tone challenging. "May I?" Marcus gestured to the presentation remote. The lead architect, a woman named Sarah, handed it over with a bemused expression. Marcus pulled up the site survey he'd studied obsessively for the past 2 weeks. Topography, soil composition, native plant species. He'd barely slept, teaching himself landscape software through YouTube tutorials at 2 a.m. while Emma slept. "This approach ignores the land's natural ecosystem," Marcus began, his voice gaining strength. "You're forcing a European garden aesthetic onto Pacific Northwest terrain. It'll require constant irrigation, chemical fertilizers, and it'll displace native wildlife." He clicked to his own rough sketches, hand-drawn but detailed. What if instead we work with the existing watershed, create rain gardens that filter runoff naturally, use native plants that don't need irrigation once established, western red cedar, Oregon grape, salal. We could build wildlife corridors that connect to Discovery Park. The room was silent. Marcus's heart pounded. Had he overstepped? Then Sarah leaned forward, genuine interest in her eyes. Show me more. For the next 30 minutes, Marcus walked them through his vision. Sustainability without sacrifice, beauty rooted in the land's truth rather than imposed ideals. His hands moved as he spoke, sketching concepts in the air, and for the first time since entering this glass tower, he forgot to be intimidated. When the meeting ended, Olivia caught his eye across the table. She was smiling. The weeks blurred together. Marcus arrived before dawn, studying, sketching, learning. The other employees slowly warmed to him. His ideas were too good to dismiss, his work ethic impossible to fault. Sarah, the architect, became an ally, translating his vision into technical specifications. But the transformation wasn't just professional. Emma's new school, a private academy with art programs and small class sizes, had her reading above grade level within a month. Their new apartment in Capitol Hill had 2 bedrooms, heating that actually worked, and windows that didn't rattle when the wind blew. Marcus still caught himself checking price tags at the grocery store, still felt a jolt when he saw his new salary deposited. Some mornings he woke up certain it was all a dream. Olivia became part of their routine in unexpected ways. She showed up at Emma's school art exhibition, standing beside Marcus as they admired Emma's watercolor of the park where they'd first met. She brought coffee to the office on Marcus's late nights, sitting across from his drafting table to discuss design philosophy and life philosophy in equal measure. Emma asked me something today, Marcus said one evening, rolling up blueprints as Olivia perched on the edge of his desk. What's that? If you were going to be her new mom. The air shifted. Olivia's fingers stilled on her coffee cup. What did you tell her? She asked carefully. That you're our friend. That's all. Marcus met her eyes. That is all, right? Is it? Olivia's voice was soft, vulnerable in a way that reminded him of the hospital. Marcus's chest tightened. He thought about the way his pulse jumped when she walked into a room, the way her laugh made him smile even on his worst days, the way Emma lit up whenever Olivia's name was mentioned. I don't know, he admitted. I don't know what this is. Neither do I, Olivia said, but I know I haven't felt this real in years. Not since before the company, before the money. You and Emma, you remind me what matters. Before Marcus could respond, his phone buzzed. Mrs. Chen, the babysitter, with Emma's nightly check-in. The moment broke, and Olivia stood to leave. Same time tomorrow? She asked. Same time tomorrow, Marcus confirmed. But as she reached the door, she turned back. Marcus, my past isn't pretty either. My parents wanted me to be a doctor. When I chose tech, they cut me off. Built this company from a studio apartment and maxed out credit cards. I know what it's like to feel like you have to prove yourself every single day. You're a billionaire, Marcus said gently. Your struggles are over. Olivia's laugh was bitter. Money just changes what you're struggling with. Loneliness is loneliness, whether you're broke or rich. After she left, Marcus sat in his office for a long time, watching the city lights reflect on the water, thinking about 2 kinds of isolation and the fragile bridge forming between them. The cracks appeared gradually, then all at once. It started with whispers Marcus pretended not to hear, break-room conversations that stopped when he entered, knowing looks exchanged between longtime employees. Then the media caught wind of the story. Tech billionaire's romantic rescue. Olivia Chen's new hire raises eyebrows. The article appeared in a tech industry blog, complete with photos of Marcus and Olivia leaving the office together, Emma between them. The implications were clear. Charity case, romantic involvement, poor judgment. David Cho knocked on Marcus's office door the morning after the article published. Can we talk? David asked, closing the door behind him. Marcus gestured to a chair, his stomach nodding. I'm going to be direct, David said. The board is questioning this hire. Not your work, that's been excellent. But the optics, the circumstances. I earned this position, Marcus said, his voice tight. I believe you. But others see a gardener who saved the CEO's life and suddenly has a director-level job in a corner office. David leaned forward. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to prepare you. There's a board meeting next week, and your hiring is on the agenda. Marcus felt the familiar burn of inadequacy, the voice that whispered he'd always be the poor kid from Tucson pretending to belong. What would you do? He asked. David considered. Prove them wrong. Let your work speak. But Marcus, stop spending so much time with Olivia outside work hours. It's feeding the rumors. After David left, Marcus stared at his designs. Beautiful, sustainable, innovative. Were they good enough to stand on their own? Or was he fooling himself? The charity gala was Olivia's idea, a fundraiser for arts education in underserved schools. She'd invited Marcus weeks ago, before the article, before the whispers became shouts. You should go, Mrs. Chen said as she arrived to watch Emma. When's the last time you did something for yourself? Marcus couldn't remember. The venue was a waterfront hotel, all marble and chandeliers. Marcus tugged at his rented tuxedo, another expense he couldn't quite justify, and tried to blend into the crowd of Seattle's elite. He found Olivia by the silent auction tables, stunning in a midnight blue gown. She smiled when she saw him, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. You came, she said. I said I would. They moved through the evening together, Olivia introducing him to donors and board members. Marcus shook hands, made small talk, and felt increasingly like an exhibit. The gardener who saved my life. Then he overheard them. Two board members standing near the bar, drinks in hand. They didn't see Marcus approach from behind a marble column. Honestly, don't know what Olivia's thinking, one said. A silver-haired man Marcus recognized as the CFO. A park maintenance worker as director of landscape architecture? It's a PR disaster. She's always had a savior complex, the other replied, a woman in a red dress. Remember when she tried to hire that homeless programmer? At least he had a degree. This Rivera guy? He's charity, a pity hire. The landscaping could have gone to a real firm, but no, she had to play fairy godmother. Marcus's hands clenched. His vision narrowed. Give it 6 months, the CFO continued. He'll be in over his head, and we'll have to clean up the mess. All because Olivia can't separate gratitude from good business. Marcus stepped back before they saw him. His chest felt tight, his throat closed. Every insecurity he'd battled for months crystallized into certainty. They were right. He was a charity case, a pity hire, a gardener playing pretend in a world he'd never truly belonged to. He found Olivia across the ballroom, laughing with a group of tech executives, and something in him broke. Marcus walked out without saying goodbye. The confrontation happened 3 days later in Marcus's office. He'd been avoiding Olivia's calls, throwing himself into work with manic intensity. She appeared in his doorway at 7 p.m. when most of the building was empty. You've been avoiding me, she said. No preamble. I've been busy. Don't lie to me, Marcus. Olivia closed the door. What happened at the gala? I heard your board members talking. The words came out sharp, defensive. They think I'm a charity case, a pity hire. And maybe they're right. They're not, aren't they? Marcus stood pacing. Be honest, Olivia. If I hadn't pulled you out of that lake, would I be here? Would you have even looked twice at a park gardener? Your work speaks for itself, does it? Or are you so consumed with guilt that you can't see I'm in over my head? Marcus's voice rose. I don't have a degree. I taught myself landscape design from YouTube videos. I'm one mistake away from proving everyone right. Olivia's expression hardened. So that's it? Someone questions you and you fold? Where's the man who jumped into freezing water without hesitation? That was different. How? Because that was instinct. This is me pretending to be something I'm not. Marcus gestured around the office. Look at this place. 3 months ago I was eating ramen 4 nights a week so Emma could have new shoes. Now I'm making design decisions on a $50 million project. How is that real? It's real because you earned it. Olivia's voice cracked. Do you think I give director positions to everyone who helps me? You have vision and talent and integrity. Or you have guilt. Marcus interrupted. You almost died, and now you're trying to balance the cosmic scales by rescuing me. Well, I don't want to be rescued, Olivia. I want to earn what I have. Silence fell, heavy and painful. Is that really what you think of me? Olivia asked quietly. That everything I've done is guilt? Marcus looked away. I don't know what to think anymore. Then maybe David was right, Olivia said, her voice cold now. Maybe we should keep our relationship strictly professional. Clearly, our friendship is compromising your ability to see yourself clearly. She left, and Marcus sank into his chair, feeling both vindicated and hollow. The following weeks were torture. Marcus buried himself in the campus project, working 16-hour days, perfecting every detail. He avoided Olivia except for necessary meetings, where they spoke with painful politeness. Emma noticed. Why doesn't Olivia come over anymore? she asked one night over dinner. We're both busy, Mija, Marcus said, pushing food around his plate. Did you have a fight? Something like that. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, in school, Ms. Rodriguez says when friends fight, they should talk about their feelings. It's more complicated than that. Why? Marcus didn't have an answer. That night, Emma did something that would change everything. She wrote a letter. Dear Olivia, Daddy is sad. He doesn't say it, but I know. He looks at the gardens on his computer and his eyes are sad. I think he misses you. I miss you too. You make Daddy smile. Can you come back? We can have mac and cheese. Love, Emma. P.S. I drew you a picture. It's you and Daddy and me in the garden. She mailed it herself using an address she found on Marcus's business cards. Marcus's breakthrough came on a rainy Thursday night, helping Emma with her math homework. I don't get it, Emma said, frustrated. I keep trying, but it's too hard. Let me help, Marcus offered. I should do it myself, Emma insisted. Mrs. Rodriguez says we have to try on our own first. There's a difference between doing it alone and asking for help when you need it, Marcus explained gently. Being strong doesn't mean never accepting help. It means being brave enough to admit when you need it. He froze, hearing his own words. Emma looked up. Daddy? I'm okay, Mija. But he wasn't. He was thinking about pride and fear and how he'd pushed away someone who saw him, really saw him, because he was terrified of being seen as weak. His phone rang. Olivia's name appeared on the screen. Marcus answered. Hello? I got Emma's letter. Olivia's voice was thick with emotion. Marcus, I need you to hear something. The City Planning Commission reviewed your campus design. They want you to present at their annual Sustainability Summit. They're calling it groundbreaking. Your integration of native ecosystems with urban development. This has nothing to do with me. This is your work, your vision. Marcus's hand tightened on the phone. What? You won a contract. On your own merit. The commission wants you to design the new waterfront park. A $2 million project. They approached the board directly, asking specifically for you. She paused. Still think you're a charity case? Marcus couldn't speak. His throat had closed entirely. I'm not guilt-driven, Marcus, Olivia continued. I'm in love with you. I have been since you refused my money and told me you just did what anyone would do, except most people wouldn't have. Most people would have kept walking. Her voice broke. But I can't be with someone who sees my affection as pity. So you need to decide, do you believe in yourself? Or are you going to let other people's doubts define you? The line went quiet. I believe, Marcus whispered. I'm sorry. I believe. They met where it all began, at the lake, on the same dock where Marcus had pulled Olivia from the water. The December sun was setting, turning the sky gold and pink. Marcus arrived first, pacing, rehearsing words that felt inadequate. Olivia appeared wearing jeans and a simple coat, looking more like the vulnerable woman from the hospital than the powerful CEO. Thank you for coming, Marcus said. Thank you for calling. Olivia sat on the dock's edge, legs dangling over the water. Marcus joined her. I was wrong, he began. Not about feeling overwhelmed or out of place, that's real. But I was wrong about you, and wrong about myself. He took a breath. I've spent Emma's whole life trying to prove I'm enough. Enough to be both parents. Enough to provide. Enough to deserve good things. And when you offered me this opportunity, part of me couldn't accept that I'd earned it. You did earn it, Olivia said softly. I know that now. The city contract proved it, but more than that. Marcus turned to face her. I realized that accepting help isn't the same as being helpless. Emma needed help with her homework, and I helped her. That didn't make her weak. It made her smart enough to recognize when she needed support. Olivia's eyes glistened. I'm scared too, you know. Scared that you'll wake up one day and realize I'm just a lonely workaholic who's forgotten how to be a real person. That the money will matter more than... She gestured between them. The money doesn't matter, Marcus said firmly. You matter. The way you see people. The way you saw me. Even when I was just a gardener in dirty boots. The way you see Emma, not as an obligation, but as a whole person worthy of attention. He reached for her hand. I'm not afraid of your money, Olivia. I'm afraid of losing you because I was too proud to admit I need you. You need me? Her voice was barely audible. I need you. And I hope, you need me too. I do, Olivia breathed. God, Marcus, I really do. Their kiss was soft, tentative, full of promise and second chances. When they pulled apart, Olivia was smiling through tears. So what now? She asked. Now we figure it out. Together, slowly, as equals. Marcus squeezed her hand. And maybe you could come to dinner this weekend? Emma's been asking. I'm making tamales. Olivia laughed, bright and genuine. I wouldn't miss it. 6 months later, the dedication ceremony for Serenity Gardens drew a crowd of hundreds. Seattle's mayor stood at the podium, praising the innovative design that had transformed a neglected waterfront lot into a thriving urban ecosystem. Marcus stood off to the side, Emma's hand in his, Olivia beside them. The garden stretched before them, native plants arranged in flowing patterns, rain gardens filtering runoff, stone pathways winding through carefully cultivated wilderness. A bronze plaque read, "Designed by Marcus Rivera, Director of Landscape Architecture, Chen Technologies." But Marcus's favorite touch was smaller, almost hidden, a bench overlooking the water engraved with, "Second chances bloom here." "It's beautiful, Daddy," Emma whispered. "We're beautiful," Olivia corrected gently, and Marcus realized she was right. The garden wasn't his alone. It was the product of collaboration, support, and accepting help when he needed it. As the ceremony concluded and the crowd dispersed to explore the gardens, the three of them remained by the central fountain. Marcus had designed it to recycle rainwater, with native sedges and rushes creating a natural filtration system. "I have something for you," Emma announced, pulling a folded paper from her pocket. It was a drawing, 3 figures planting a tree together, the sky above them filled with stars. "For the garden," she explained. "So you remember." Marcus knelt beside his daughter, pulling both her and Olivia into an embrace. "I'll never forget, Mija. This is where we planted our roots." Around them, families explored the paths Marcus had designed. Children laughed near the water features and native birds sang from cedar branches. The garden was alive, growing, imperfect and beautiful, just like second chances, just like love, just like the unlikely family formed on the day a gardener jumped into cold water and pulled out more than he'd ever imagined possible.